First in high definition from the station on your side, this is WAVY News 10.
You've seen this huge cloud, a cloud of smoke from the Great Dismal Swamp. We'll talk to those fighting it on the front lines.
And you can see and smell the smoke from those fires all across Hampton Roads. How people who can't avoid it are dealing with it. Plus, new information about what happened before Chinook went down in Afghanistan, killing local Navy SEALs, and what happened to the militants the military says is responsible for the attack. All across Hampton Roads and into North Carolina, you are telling us you can see and smell the smoke from the fires in the Great Dismal Swamp.
And we have the proof. This afternoon it made its way into the WAVY newsroom right here in Portsmouth. Nearly 100 firefighters are battling flames near Lake Drummond. And this is what it looked like from Chopper 10, which flew over the Great Dismal Swamp in Suffolk. Lightning started this fire last week, and you can see where it led. We're on your side with team coverage. Ava Hurdle in Chesapeake in the middle of that smoke. Chief Meteorologist Don Slater tracking the wind from Super Doppler 10 and where that's going. Stephanie Harris also in part of our team coverage. We're going to start things off, though, in Chesapeake with Ava Hurdle. What's behind you there, Ava?
Well, Tom, we're in the Edinburgh section of southern Chesapeake, and behind me you can see and smell the smoke. It's a consideration at outdoor activities like football practice. Whether it's passing, tackling, or blocking, these 90 players are getting a workout. The Norfolk State University Spartans are practicing offensive and defensive situations right now before the season begins next month. Practicing in the heat and over the past couple of days in sometimes smoky air.
You know, we got our periods where we'll take a break, get out there, go 100%. So the coaches are working with us for the heat. The smoke, you can't really do much about that. You just got to work through it. It hasn't been too bad over here.
And players are under the watchful eyes of athletic trainers who are constantly checking on those who may have breathing difficulties with the smoke.
What we really need to do is ensure that any of our asthmatic kids, we keep an extra eye on them. Luckily, what it seemed to be is that usually by mid-morning most of it is cleared, so we really haven't had too many issues. Like today, we came out today, we really couldn't even smell it compared to yesterday.
Practice goes on both afternoon and morning.
Well, we've been fortunate right now. We really haven't had any smoke over here, but we've had a lot of obviously heat and stuff. And you got to make sure your players are constantly hydrating throughout the practice. Plus, really, when they're not on the practice field, it's really important that they drink a lot of water.
Hey, left hand.
Andy says no matter the weather, players need to be well rested too.
We need 11. One more play. I got the one. No, 11.
Now we have to tell you wind direction has everything to do with where the smoke lingers, and tonight at 6 we'll introduce you to some people who are adjusting their time outdoors because of it. We're live in Chesapeake. Ava Hurdle, 10 on your side.
Hey, a real mess there in Chesapeake. Thanks, Ava.
We mentioned earlier that Stephanie Harris was at the Fire Command Center to get a look at what's going on with all this smoke.
What's going on, Steph?
Well, you guys, let's take a look right now. This is a picture of what's going on in the Great Dismal Swamp right now, a shot from Chopper 10 we got earlier today. 3,200 acres are on fire right now, and I wanted to give you more of a perspective so you could kind of figure out how big that is. Well, I found out that Busch Gardens in Williamsburg is about 100 to 150 acres. So this is a little bit more along the lines of Naval Station Norfolk size, which is about 4,600 acres. So this is a huge fire, and it is growing.
What looks like a huge mushroom cloud
You're looking at the forest fire in the Dismal Swamp.
Is hanging right outside Jason and Stephanie Wooldridge's back door.
It was beautiful last night. Everything was pretty dark, the stars were out, and it was a beautiful red glow.
But the closer you get, the uglier it gets.
We are not going to put this fire out.
Firefighters tell us this thing is burning so intensely, producing so much smoke, they've had to back off.
A good soaking rain will slow it down. A tropical system is the only thing that's going to put it out.
It's so dangerous, firefighters wouldn't allow us near the line, but on this map, you can see the plan of attack. The red box is where the fire started. The yellow line to the left is the edge of the refuge. Right next to it is a road. It's the road we drove to get to the Wooldridge's house. It's just an ink pen's length on the map, or about 5 miles as the crow flies. The dotted black line that forms a box around the area represents the ditches. Firefighters are counting on these to hold back the fire. They're reinforcing them now by clearing away brush, but that is no easy task.
Listen to this. The crunchy sound, that is the firefighters' biggest obstacle right now. It's all of this dried out brush and grass, and under this huge cloud of smoke, this kindling is several feet high.
And they're fighting their own limitations as well.
This provides some airway protection, filters the dust.
They must wear all of this for protection: wool socks, boots, and very tightly knit pants and shirts.
And you put this on and all of a sudden the temperature goes up at least 10 degrees right away.
But Timothy Craig and more than 100 others do it because this is their home too, and their neighbors are counting on them.
We know they got it under control and they'll get it down.
Now, along with the 130 firefighters out there today, 2 helicopters are dumping water on this fire throughout the day. And hey, speaking of water, the firefighters are drinking at least one of these every hour. Stephanie Harris, 10 on your side.
Wow, and I got to confess, in our afternoon meeting around 3 o'clock, I was talking about downtown Norfolk today. Not a lot of smoke, and then we started to smell it because that's when the wind shifted and we could see it outside our window.
Yeah, the main plume is still right along the Virginia-North Carolina state line. However, a lot of smoke has shifted northward during the afternoon hours today. We're going to see it shift again coming up a little bit later on. It's not quite as thick as it was even around half an hour ago. Now, this is a time-lapse sequence. You can see the low-lying smoke and this hazy stuff very, very close to the ground, into the trees and into the neighborhoods. We're looking west toward the setting sun. Even though it isn't setting yet. You can see it disappear with the cloud cover. The clouds kind of take it away a bit. Can't see it as well. But you can see in our live shot here, this is a live picture here now, what we're seeing is it's right on into here. It doesn't extend all the way on into here. Here's a look at the cloud plume, or really the smoke plume. It was dropping southward, then dropping northwestward, and that's what it's doing right now from northwest to southeast. But some of this has drifted on northward into the Hampton Roads area. A little later tonight, toward about the midnight hour or so, we're going to see those winds shift on over to the northwest, and that's going to take the smoke out of the Hampton Roads area and on into northeast North Carolina. We'll complete this wind forecast and show you our forecast with chances of rain. That'll be coming up into the weekend. We'll tell you more about that in just a few minutes.
And we have posted a slideshow of the smoke pictures that we have received under this story on WAVY.com, and we have some very impressive shots here. Red is the color of the day again on Wall Street as stocks return to their losing ways. That's been the general trend for 3 weeks now, whether it be here or Europe. The concern is twofold: debt and the economy. Here's a look at today's damage. The Dow down nearly 520 points, 4.5%. Same thing goes for the NASDAQ and S&P. A very bad day across the board for investors. We're going to break down another wild day on the trading floor on WAVY News 10 at 5:30.
The military released new information about the mission that ended with this weekend's deadly Chinook crash in Afghanistan. 30 U.S. service members died, including Virginia Beach-based Navy SEALs. The new commander of U.S. and NATO forces in Afghanistan says a recent airstrike took out Taliban militants responsible for shooting down the U.S. Chinook helicopter and killing U.S. Special Forces, including locally based SEALs.
Coalition forces killed the Taliban insurgents responsible for this attack against the helicopter.
General John Allen also revealed new details surrounding the deaths of 30 U.S. Special Forces, most elite Navy SEALs. He says were called in by Army Rangers as backup after the Taliban leader they were fighting started to flee.
Did we get the leader that we were going after in the initial operation? No, we did not.
The crash marked the deadliest incident for the U.S. military in Afghanistan. On Tuesday, the president flew to Dover Air Force Base to pay his respects as the remains arrived. He also met with family members.
It was an incredibly powerful experience, and the courage and sacrifice that the families demonstrated was really remarkable.
The latest incident has intensified the political and public debate on how long the U.S. should stay in Afghanistan. In the past 3 weeks, 34 special ops members have died there. But Allen says there are hundreds of missions that are paying off.
This was a singular incident in a broader conflict in which we are making important strides and considerable progress.
Military officials say an investigation into that helo crash is underway.
Well, a former Virginia Wesleyan basketball star brutally attacked at the ocean front. Next at 5:30, we're going to update his condition and tell you who police are looking for. Here, the president's plan to boost falling home prices and deal with foreclosures in the future.
Plus, we're watching Wall Street and on your side with how you could benefit from the stock market's instability.
You're watching WAVY News 10 at 5 with Tom Shad, Nicole Libus, and Super Doppler 10 Chief Meteorologist Don Slater.
Another rough ride on Wall Street. After closing up yesterday, the Dow closed down more than 500 points today. Experts say you could benefit from the market uncertainty. Economists suggest moving forward on remodeling talks with contractors because housing demand is not expected to improve in the near future. If you plan to buy a car, wait a few weeks because manufacturers may offer incentives. The same goes for airline tickets. Analysts expect travel to drop and ticket prices to follow as carriers try to keep the planes full. The government is looking for ideas on how to turn foreclosed properties into rental homes. That's the plan from President Obama's administration. They're asking investors for insight. This is part of the effort to help support declining home prices and also a way to deal with potential foreclosures in coming years.
A report of transmission trouble on some BMWs. The electronic shifters in the 2002 to 2008 7 Series models are supposed to shift in the park when the engine's turned off. Most cars will do that, but at least one owner has complained that's not happening, and it could lead to the vehicle rolling after the driver leaves the car. Now, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says 120,000 BMW sedans could have that problem, and that could mean a recall.
With more police out on the streets, things were quieter in London overnight. We'll show you the violence that spilled out to other British cities.
And help for the families of fallen SEALs.
This is just a small way of us giving back to what they've already done and paid that ultimate sacrifice.
See how Hampton Roads is supporting the loved ones they left behind.
Within the past hour, Governor Bob McDonnell declared Friday, August 12th, a day of mourning for the local SEALs killed in Afghanistan. The governor ordered all state flags flown at half-staff from dawn to dusk. The outpouring of support continues here in Hampton Roads for the families of the Navy SEALs. Tonight in Virginia Beach, members of WAVY Church are making last-minute preparations to provide family members with gifts from a grateful community.
10 on Your Side's Art Kahn tells us more about what could be one of the fastest and most generous support drives ever.
Like the inspirational music that fills their sanctuary on Sundays, the outpouring of generosity from the community has filled the hearts of leaders at the WAVY Church in Virginia Beach.
We've been overwhelmed with the support and what's come in so far.
So far, thousands of dollars in cash and household items have been donated.
We've been working with the Naval Special Warfare Foundation and specifically directly with the families. They had contacted us and said they were so overwhelmed with supplies that what they really needed at this stage was these gift cards.
These gift cards are just a sample of what local businesses have contributed to the drive. For example, the Norfolk Zoo contributed 21 family memberships worth almost $2,000.
We were prepared to buy some of these, and they just said, hey, we want in, we want to donate these, and it's been overwhelming.
We actually donated $1,000 worth of gift certificates.
Nicole Perkins is the vice president of Captain George's Seafood Restaurant, which donated gift certificates valued at $50 each.
These men made the ultimate sacrifice, and I don't think you can put a price tag on that, and we really feel like, you know, this is kind of the least that we could do to help.
This is just a small way of us giving back to what they've already done and paid that ultimate sacrifice, but we can never outgive what they've already given to us.
In Virginia Beach, Art Kahn, 10 on Your Side.
Now, to date, the WAVY Church, along with participating churches in the area, have donated 10% of the offerings received last Sunday. Well, Well, that totals $56,000. Just today alone, they collected $11,000 worth of gift cards, all to be given to the families of those fallen SEALs.
10 on Your Side is trying to make sure students in Hampton Roads are ready to go back to school. We're collecting school supplies for needy children. This Friday, Don Roberts will stuff the bus at the Office Depot on Mercury Boulevard in Hampton. Donations will be distributed to schools across the area. If you cannot make it out on Friday, don't worry. Just drop off your donations at any Langley Federal Credit Union, Priority Automotive, or Office Depot. Just look for the Operation School Supplies collection boxes. And for more information about those drop-off sites, log on to WAVY.com.
Well, tonight is WAVY night at Harbor Park. The Norfolk Tides host the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs. That's a cool name. This is video from last month's Fox 43 night, Nicole. Tonight the gates open at 6 p.m. You threw out the first pitch there?
I did. It was beautiful. Chopper 10 will drop off our own Don Slater, center field at 7:05. Talk about beautiful. He's going to throw out the first pitch at 7:15. He throws like a girl. The first 2,000 ladies, speaking of ladies, and old, 18 and older, will receive a free Tides visor.
I'm going to have to referee here. Are you going to let her get away with that?
Well, she heard me earlier.
Maybe you'll get a visor for throwing like a girl.
No, she heard me earlier. I said, oh, yeah, throw like a girl. Yeah.
I want to see you come out of the helicopter.
Well, I throw badly, but probably not like a girl. Anyway, take a look at what's going on into the area. We want to talk about this smoke. It's going to be hanging around through the evening hours. And the thing about this is, too, that as the sun gets a little lower in the sky, a temperature inversion occurs. And I'm not going to go into a full explanation of a temperature inversion other than the fact that it tends to compress the air downward. We end up with dropping air, and that air dropping will tend to compress that smoke closer to the ground. So we could see it a little bit thicker during some of the evening hours. Stray shower or two into moving into Isle of Wight County right now, right on into here. That's tending to fall apart. But here's the smoke plume. We've got things really cranked up on Super Doppler 10 Live, so we're able to see all kinds of ground clutter, but we're able to see the smoke plume as well. The main smoke plume is still really across southern Chesapeake into southern Virginia Beach, but we have seen a little bit of a light wind right on into here out of the south-southwest. Off to the western portions of Suffolk into Isle of Wight County, we're starting to see a little bit of a wind shift go on here, where we are seeing more west-southwesterly. And it's very, very localized, so it could affect Virginia Beach a bit more with some of this cloud cover, some of this smoke coming up in the next several hours. And we're going to see a northwest wind coming up by midnight, so it's going to blow the smoke into North Carolina. Now, here's what's going on in terms of cloud cover, and you'll note that there are a few clouds approaching the area with these stray showers. Did have one over Matthews County, and then it fell apart north of Cape Charles. But there's a wind shift line out there, and that wind shift line is the wind flipping on over to the northwest. Now, by 9 o'clock this evening, our winds will have shifted from southwest, which we'll likely see during the evening hours. And again, coming off that fire, it's going to blow right on through Virginia Beach just a little bit later on in the evening, really before 9 o'clock. But by 9 o'clock, we're starting to see the wind shift. By midnight, 1 o'clock, northwest winds become northerly at 10 to 15. So again, that's going to blow that smoke southward into North Carolina by around 1 o'clock in the morning. There's the fire, and there's where it's going, heading on down toward the Hertford area coming up by 1 o'clock in the morning and into tomorrow morning. A light northerly wind at 7, a light northerly wind at the noon hour, and then becoming more northeasterly by the end of the day with a few more clouds into the area. Now, we're getting an outside chance of some rain. Not enough rain to put a fire out, certainly. There's where we are midnight tomorrow night, and we move on into Friday morning. Still a couple of showers are possible during the day on Friday, but again, it'd be very, very light. Here's that smoke right along here. You can see it right along the horizon. We're going to start things up and let it run. It's about 45 minutes or so worth of time, or almost an hour. You can see the wind shifts just a little bit, and it moves it on into this direction. Right now through the area, we've got partly cloudy skies, low to mid-90s into the area as promised. That was a little bit better than what we saw yesterday, and tomorrow it's even better yet, 86 degrees. And again, North Carolina, I'm sorry, you're going to get the smoke coming up for later tonight and into tomorrow, and that's likely to continue with that northwesterly wind. Temperatures in the 80s for the next 7 days.
A bizarre accident involving a big rig. Hear how the trailer ended up stuck on a highway sign.
How did that happen? Well, a boy drowns in the Pacific Ocean, or I should say nearly drowns, and after falling in a coma, his family loses all hope, then a miraculous recovery. You're going to hear how he beat death at 5:30. No other way to describe this except bizarre. It shut down a Houston highway during the afternoon rush. Look at this accident. The driver says the hydraulic lift began raising the empty trailer while he was driving, and it got stuck on an overhead sign. Crews had to take off the whole structure. We know about that and how long that takes here in Virginia Beach. It'll cost $100,000 to replace that damaged sign. The driver was not hurt.
Thousands of extra police officers on the streets of London kept the city quieter after 3 nights of rioting, but the violence spread to other parts of the United Kingdom. Manchester and Liverpool experienced the worst rioting. Hundreds of people set trash cans and cars on fire, even as police patrolled the streets there. 3 people died when they were hit by a car. Friends of the victims say they were patrolling their neighborhood to keep it safe from looters. Police across the country have made almost 1,200 arrests.
Eating out can be expensive. So can eating healthier, especially if you're following the new dietary guidelines. But we're on your side with ways to cut costs next time you go to the grocery store checkout.
And next at 5:30, why the heat might be to blame for 911 service problems on the Eastern Shore.
Yeah, it's just kind of a mess.
All right, I'll be here. Thanks.
Who pulling?
Yeah.
To speak to the victim or the bar owner in this case. They also are busy interviewing at least 5 witnesses.
Making healthy food purchases is difficult when the price of food keeps going up. A study from the University of Washington found following those new dietary guidelines can add almost 10% to your food bill. No easy way. Nutritionists say that eating healthy on a budget takes planning, whether shopping at the produce aisle or the meat department.
But meat is probably even more expensive than fruits and vegetables. Watching our portion size, watching the cuts that we buy, and looking for sales and stocking up. Another great way to save money.
Now, dietitians say if you take out all the bad stuff, the junk food, soda, chips, and replace it with the good stuff, your grocery bill should even out. It's worth trying. Stay with us. WAVY News 10 at 5:30 starts right now.